Next story I want to talk about, other domestic violence case. And, I keep these going. The Gabby Petito woke me up in many ways about how bad domestic violence is. My goal is to help you be alert. My goal is to help you be aware. So hopefully, if you see something, do something. Guys, before I get into this story, did you hear about the Pennsylvania incident on the train? Lady was allegedly raped by a man on the train, and onlookers just their cameras disgusted and horrified by that. I'd like to think if I was in that incident, I would have done something. Same time, when I lived in New York City as a high school kid, I was mugged on the train with passengers looking on. There were no phones back then, so there were nobody taking videos of me getting mugged by these two big giant dudes practically. When I got off the train, and one guy said to me, "Did those guys just do that to you? I thought they were joking with you." I'm like, look like I was laughing with them? Like to this day, we're talking like 30 years ago. To this day, I still remember that. So, but this heinous crime is worse than what I went through. No one did anything. No one called the police right away. I'm horrified and disgusted by that story. I look at these things and I'm like, if you see something, say something, do something. Don't just be an onlooker. Here we have another domestic violence incident. Man strangled his wife to death after a night at a strip club. So, sentenced to prison for strangling his wife to death after night at strip club, burning her body in the backyard shed. Horrible type of stuff you don't want to know that occurs. I'm sick to talk about it, but I talk about it so that you can be alert and aware of the things you need to be careful for. So a Texas judge issued a sentence for a man convicted of strangling his wife to death, then burning her remains in a backyard shed. Terrible. So 46-year-old J. Patrick Hammersley sentenced to 40 years in state prison for murdering his 29-year-old wife, Mara Vestal, in February of 2019. Rest in peace, Mara Vestal. So a jury agreed with prosecutors that the defendant then discarded his wife's remains, which were never recovered. They don't even have the body. That's sad. But I wonder how they know. I wonder what they did find of her. I agree. Vestal's older sister says she was taken from us at the age of 29. Way too young, right? She still had a lot of life to give and have. She didn't make this choice. God didn't make this choice. Jay did. Jay took her from us. I agree. He is 100% guilty. Wow. I mean, terrible. So it looks like both of them, husband and wife, they went to a strip club on the night of February 16th. On their way home from the strip club, the two got into a verbal argument. The verbal argument, it continued and it escalated and became physical after they reached their home. Hammersley reportedly claimed that Vestal started hitting him first, and he reportedly responded by strangling her to death on their bed. I don't care. How did she try to kill you? Defending yourself. I don't know how big this guy is. I don't know how small or big Vestal is. Following her death, Hammersley reportedly dragged her body to a shed in the backyard of their home and placed her inside, where he stored her remains for 2 days. Then told a friend what had happened and asked if the friend would be willing to help him cover up the murder. The friend was smart. He said no. The friend turned him down. He's like, I don't want anything to do with what you've done. So they still have not recovered her remains. Not recovered. And Hammersley, he purchases 100 pounds of charcoal he used to cremate his murdered wife's body inside the backyard shed. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He put her ashes into a series of trash bags and left them on the curb. Garbage collectors didn't pick up the bag. Hammersley then packs up the bags inside his vehicle and he drove the remains to his place of business, which is RV and Car Care, where he threw them in a dumpster. This is what Hammersley told investigators. He himself did a good job of disposing the body. I'm glad they were able to still convict him without the body, though, because of his friend, him sharing even what he's done, but they don't know where the remains are. Interesting. This all began. The family members contacted the sheriff's office in March after they started growing really concerned when she stopped answering their calls and responding to any text messages. After Hammersley, trying to play the innocent role, he attempted to file a missing persons report for his wife. The investigators said his story continued to change and didn't match information that the police already knew. That's why it's important that they dive deep into their own investigation into these things. Hammersley again spoke to the friend he had asked to help with the cover-up by lying to the person and saying he'd reported his wife's murder to the police. So he told his friend, hey, I told the police about the murder, because the friend already knew something. When the friend discovered Hammersley was lying, the friend is the one who reported the crime to the police. Great job, friend. Great job. And so Hammersley turns himself in on April 3rd, and he was charged with murder and tampering with a corpse, which is a felony as well. And he pleaded guilty to the charges. So there's no I didn't do it. He pleaded guilty to these charges. So this is another episode of domestic violence spinning out of control. This is where this stuff gets so unfortunate. Assistant District Attorney, he shares, this is his quote, "This is a situation where they got into an argument one night and he strangled her. Unfortunately, this is not an uncommon situation." Example, Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie. Brian Laundrie strangled her. They had a big fight at Mary Piglet's. Continues to say, unfortunately, this is not an uncommon situation. Domestic violence is rampant, and we hope that by holding offenders accountable, we can prevent this from happening to other victims. Let me show you guys this. She posted this in June of 2017. Everything is said and done. Mara Vestal, the victim. After everything is said and done, we are still together. We have a beautiful family, a loving home, and I have you for the rest of my life. I love Jay Hammersley, and what he doesn't kill us will always make us stronger. And what doesn't kill us will always make us stronger. That is pretty ironic. Because she would die like the year later, right? She would die a year later. That's sad. And this is a picture of them too. Rest in peace, Maya. I'm sure you did not know this was going to happen to you. You know, you don't expect this to ever happen. You have arguments, you have little spats, you have things, you go your own way, you leave it alone. But sometimes some people cannot control their temper. This is why, I'm a racquetball coach to like over 40 kids, and I tell these kids, like, I see them get angry, hit the racket on the wall, and I tell them, you got to learn to control that, because that one day you can do something that you let your anger get the best of you, and then you wish you didn't do it. I tell my son that too. He's watching football games, getting crazy, throwing things around, and I have to teach him, like, hey, gotta learn to control that temper. You cannot let it get the best of you. The quicker you realize that, the quicker you can work on it. I try to educate them on that. My friends, what I have for you today, Thank you for joining me on this morning time. And so those are the 4 new stories, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you again pretty soon. I'm Manny Rodriguez with Deep True Crime, where we explore the ongoing cases. And hey, my friends, if you found some value, if this sounds like something you like, please smash that subscribe button. Click that like button. Let YouTube know you got some value, and they'll let you know when I upload stuff. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And hey, you see that little bell? Click on that little notification bell so you get notified when I go live. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Peace.